Hello, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. Spies says spies need more cyber. The real Buhari has just stood up, squashing rumours he's been cloned. But then I guess a clone would say that. This is fake news, Nigeria style. The dangers of the drug fentanyl acknowledged by world leaders and dark web drug dealers. And Air New Zealand wins the Christmas ad competition. We'll show you why. Well, at the top of our newsfeed, C. Now, he's the boss of the UK spy agency MI6. His real name is Alex Younger, and today he's giving a speech on the future of his organisation and just how much cyber is going to play a role. Here's Sarah, somewhere fitting.
Unlike the fictional MI6 boss known as M in the James Bond movies, in real life, the spy chief is called C, and he works at the MI6 headquarters building behind me here. And he's no great fan of James Bond, doesn't like his maverick antics, but I suspect he is a fan of the character called Q. Now, Q's the guy who makes the gadgets in the James Bond movie, and he's the guy who in the movie Skyfall said he could do more damage sitting in front of his computer, wearing his pajamas before he'd even had his morning cup of tea than James Bond could do in the field in an entire year. And I suspect the real-life spy boss, whose real name is Alex Younger, actually agrees. He's now outlined what he's calling the era, the fourth generation of espionage. Now, this is the fusing of human spy work with technological advances, so things like spy bots, artificial intelligence, even fake news. He says that Russia is one of the main adversaries of the UK. They're hell-bent on causing confrontation and that they're using cyber warfare in this confrontation. He's told the Kremlin not to underestimate little old Britain and its capabilities. Now, he doesn't speak often, Alex Younger. He's actually only done this twice in the 4 years he's been the chief of the agency. But he's also not only warning Russia that UK is ready for them, but also saying that he wants a whole new wave of young recruits. He doesn't mind where they come from. In fact, he wants recruits from a diverse background. But if you are thinking about signing up and becoming the next spy or James Bond, you better perhaps get used to the idea that there won't be so much exploding umbrella action or too many gun cameras, but perhaps more long days sitting behind your desk looking at your computer.
Like all of us. Now, rumours on social media have led to an extraordinary moment. The president of Nigeria having to deny he's dead and has been cloned while undergoing medical treatment in London last year. Yes, cloned. You couldn't make it up, but someone did.
Somebody resourced that I am cloned. A lot of people hoped that I was dead and hoped I died. It's really me, I assure you. I will soon celebrate my 76th birthday, and I'm still going strong.
But even that video has thousands of comments, many saying that this video is not even proof that Buhari has not been cloned, as the camera doesn't zoom and the picture quality is poor. Now, the rumour was started, or at least propagated, by this guy. He's Asari Dokubo. He's a former leader of a militant group in the Niger Delta.
So we will not be surprised if they have done some sort of cloning. You know, all these videos that this man was incubating, this your man was incubating in, what do they call it? In London, and Abuja House, London. That was where he was. So today, he was talking, if you hear his voice, you know that that one is not. The man was trying to mimic the original one. Trying to mimic the original one. He didn't succeed, he didn't convince us.
And here is the real Buhari at the climate change conference in Poland earlier today. Now, fake news is a massive problem in Nigeria, as you can see by the ludicrous rumour having to be actually addressed by the nation's president. Now, there will be elections held in Nigeria in about 3 months' time, and there are already plans among journalists there to work together closely across news organisations to try and deal with fake news. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other things that have caught our eye on social media. Now, the wedding of the season in India between Priyanka Chopra and one of the Jonas brothers blew up Indian Twitter over the weekend. But it was this auntie in the background who started going viral and was one of the highlights for the internet. And her face led to some great salty memes, like when an Indian auntie realizes Nick is younger than Priyanka. And this one's saying that auntie is against interracial weddings. And this one's saying that auntie is stealing the couple's thunder.
You take the clothes on my back.
And Beyonce has been blasted on social media. Hashtag boycott Beyonce started to trend out of South Africa after Queen Bee only allowed 25 minutes of her performance at the Global Citizen Festival in Joburg to be streamed live. Now, will this really affect Her Majesty's brand? Unlikely, but it'll sure keep the hive abuzz. Now, fentanyl has contributed to the deaths of Michael Jackson, Prince and Tom Petty, as well as hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people around the world since it was first synthesized by a Belgian chemist called Paul Janssen in the 1960s. Now, it's an incredibly powerful painkiller, way more so than morphine or heroin, and much of it is now made in China. And now there are two stories around it. Right now, President Xi has just agreed to make it a controlled substance after discussion with President Trump. And the criminals who sell it on the dark web also seem to be recognizing the dangers of the drug. Now, Pablo Escobar was killed 25 years ago. He's one of the world's most infamous drug traffickers. But there is concern among many in Colombia and around the world that his legacy is being sanitized by film, TV, and time.
Yo soy Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria. Mis ojos están en todos lados. O sea, ustedes no pueden hacer una sola mierda en el departamento de Antioquia sin que yo me entere. Sí, señores. No pueden mover un dedo. Un día yo voy a ser presidente de la República de Colombia.
What a cool guy, right? The drug lord's life has become an object of fascination of TV shows. People from around the world are flocking to Colombia for narco tours to be able to breathe the same air he did. But behind the flashy visuals and the gripping dialogues is a reality many Colombians are still living with. Escobar was a ruthless criminal who terrorized an entire country.
Ni Quentin Tarantino se ha imaginado tanta violencia como la que esta familia y el país que sufrió la violencia de mi padre vivió. Yo tuve a mi padre cerca, escondido con él, y estábamos rodeados de millones de dólares y estábamos muriéndonos de hambre.
Pablo Escobar started out as a street criminal, and by the time he turned 20, he was deeply entrenched in the drug underworld. Serving as an apprentice to multi-millionaire Alvaro Prieto, he became a millionaire himself in his 20s. And by the 1980s, his own drug network, the Medellin cartel, controlled up to 80% of the global cocaine business. He gained popular support by donating vast sums to charity, constructing houses, churches, and football fields in poor neighborhoods.
He's not Robin Hood. Robin Hood didn't put a bomb on an airplane. Robin Hood didn't kill a presidential candidate. Robin Hood didn't kill thousands and thousands of innocent people.
He was elected congressman in 1982, when the source of his money and his crimes were widely unknown. But when the justice minister revealed Escobar's notorious background, he was forced to resign. His war against other cartels and the police then shifted to the whole Colombian government. His hit squad slaughtered judges, hundreds of police officers, politicians, and presidential candidates, even bombing an airliner in 1989, killing 107 people on board. He is believed to have killed almost 3,000 people, including children. Pablo Escobar's legacy still casts a shadow on Colombia. The country continues to suffer from the drug trade, killings, and the trafficking of underage girls. And many Colombians feel pulp culture continues to keep a tragedy that plagued their country alive.
We don't want the narco novels or the narco soap operas to be our image. Colombia has so much more to offer, and we feel that that should be what represents us.
Okay, around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Monday. People born with albinism face discrimination in many societies, especially in parts of Africa. So a pageant has been held in Kenya in partnership with Tanzania and Uganda. Now 30 people took part and a Mr. and Mrs. Albinism will be crowned. They will then act as ambassadors and also be given a cash prize. Now, albinism is said to be more prevalent in sub-Saharan Africa than anywhere else on the planet. Albinos are shunned from society and often have to live separately, as in Ikwere Island in Tanzania. Now, people on social media have been saying that the money for the pageant may have been better spent on education programs where albinos are being murdered. Richard Branson reckons that his company Virgin Galactic will be flying people into space by Christmas. He's planned a number of test flights for the next 3 weeks, but we have heard all this before. Branson also once said that commercial space travel would be available by 2007, and that obviously did not happen. A British couple, Daniela Anthony and John Drennan, were looking at their engagement ring, saying it was a little too big when it dropped down a grate in Times Square. The couple then spent 2 hours looking for it, and police stopped fighting crime to try and help out. The couple then flew back to England, but the CCTV of their search went viral, and by the time they landed, NYPD had tweeted out that they'd found the ring, and now it's going to be given back. And yes, they are grateful.
And being able to return a sentimental item like that back to somebody, you know, in a lot of senses, with the type of work that we do, it might seem like something that's small, but to them it's a big deal. So that's kind of what, you know, what really matters.
And last up, Air New Zealand are really making some excellent adverts right now, ads that are going viral, and their latest one is for Christmas, and it references this moment from the United Nations.
In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Well, that has been recreated in the ad. The premise is that Santa accidentally sends his naughty list to a kid in New Zealand. That boy is called Elvis for narrative reasons, who then convenes an international summit of naughty kids to try and work out how to get on the nice list. They then make a bunch of empty promises, just like the real UN.
I'm not naughty at all. In fact, I'm the nicest person I know. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay. New Zealand promises to do all our chores, spend less time on our phones, and be nicer to Australia.
All right, that is all from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints, and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Follow, subscribe, and add. See you again tomorrow.